I've had this debate for the longest time. Should you have a TV or should you have a projector for your home entertainment? I'm a geek for this stuff, and I believe that you need to have the best possible entertainment system at home to be able to enjoy the great quality of content that we are getting as direct-to-TV. Multi-million-dollar series productions, bunch of different streaming services, 4K. This is stuff that I think that should be enjoyed in the way that it was intended to be enjoyed. We're going to the movies a lot less, so we're moving that experience to the home. We're going to be comparing 4 variables here. One is usability, so your ability to just jump in the couch, press a button, and start enjoying whatever you want to watch. Resolution, color, and then contrast, which is a challenge for projectors, of course, because of light. So without further ado, this is projectors versus TVs. I'm going to be comparing my Sony 7 Series 4K TV. This is a TV that I bought back in 2017. It's not a high-end version by any means. I paid around $600 for it. I'm going to be comparing that to the Vankyo Performance 620 projector. So these guys from Vankyo created this as an affordable projector. It goes for around $250 on Amazon. I'm going to link it in the description. And they actually shipped one to me for this video specifically, so thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to be using Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies from the last few years. It's a fantastic visual experience. I hope that you've watched it. There are not going to be any spoilers. What I've done is I have handpicked a few scenes that I believe push your TV or projector device to the very limit. So first, we have to talk about resolution. I'm not going to go into the number of pixels on a 1080p screen versus a 4K screen. The point here is resolution translates into image quality, into image sharpness, and it translates into how much you can enlarge an image. So a 4K image, of course, can be enlarged a lot more before you start losing details. This translates into being able to see the little windows in that cityscape or being able to see the detail in someone's face. But there's a fundamental variable in terms of resolution, which is its correlation with screen size. Take a look. My TV sits at around 7 feet from my couch. That means that I'm able to appreciate the detail of a 4K movie and the additional resolution that that movie has because the couch is close enough to the TV. If I move further back to the bar, the distance from the bar to the TV no longer allows me to appreciate 4K. So to me, to my actual eyes perception, a 1080p movie and a 4K movie in terms of resolution would look the same. And then, of course, I'm gonna draw this little chart over here as I do the post-production of this video to give a sense of how the screen size translates to this. So if you buy a 4K TV that's too small and your couch is too far away, you might not even be appreciating the difference that 4K makes. So you shouldn't be paying expensive HDMI cables or paying extra for your Netflix subscription because, again, the distance doesn't allow you to appreciate 4K. The advantage, of course, with projectors is that they can project a much larger image. This projector sitting here around 8 feet from the wall can generate an image that's around 75 inch. So even if it's 1080p, not 4K, I can enjoy it as a 1080p movie, see all the detail, and even if I'm sitting all the way in the back of the room, that's gonna look 1080p to my eyes. There are 4K projectors out there, but they're on the expensive side, certainly not something that an average household would own, I think. So not getting to those for now. The 4K standard that you're paying extra for on your Netflix subscription doesn't only relate to additional resolution. Most of the time, most movies also carry additional color information. That's usually encoded in a format called HDR, either HDR10 or Dolby Vision, which are 2 different standards for the same thing. In a nutshell, the movie file is not only larger, it not only has more pixels, more resolution, it carries additional color information. The easiest way to visualize when there's not enough color information to translate an image is in color banding. So on this frame right here, you can see how the colors are sort of broken. That's because there aren't enough colors in the encoding to show a smooth transition between these colors. My 4K Sony TV is HDR. That's pretty much a standard these days, I would say. However, the projector is not. That's actually not a standard for projectors because building HDR into projectors is actually quite expensive. So this, I feel, is going to be a very interesting comparison between the two. So I'm going to be shooting this scene in Las Vegas, which is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I'm going to shoot that with my camera, which is HDR compliant. So the files that I'm going to capture are both HDR, and I'm going to be able to compare the color range in those files as I edit this video. However, when I upload the video to YouTube, some of that information might be lost because of YouTube's compression, or simply the device where you might be watching this video might not be HDR compliant, so you might not be able to see it, but you're going to have to trust my word on it. Anyway, here's the scene comparison between the projector and the TV. Alright, so next up is contrast, which is of course a large challenge for projectors. The challenge with contrast is that if you're watching a movie during the day, the TV or the projector need to make up for the brightness of the day. Obviously, if you have a dark room that you can completely shut off and emulate night, that's great, but that's, I think, rarely the case for most of our living rooms, at least it is for mine. And most of my walls are white, as well as my ceilings. So I've shot this comparison of this scene in the movie. It has some really darks and some really bright colors. What we're looking for here is contrast, so the ability of the projector or the TV to display the darkest areas. The brightness of the projector is really relevant here. So this projector is around 5,000 nits. That can also be measured in lumens. So technically a brighter projector could perform better, but the brightness of the projector usually carries a more expensive price. Here are the two screens compared during the day and during the night.
With someone you are with
Last but not least, I promised to talk a little bit about usability. The usability of the projector is just a few seconds longer than the TV. You do need to turn it on, which takes a few seconds. On the other hand, my TV at least, and I'm not really sure how you can find this feature in a TV feature list, but it talks really well with my Apple TV and my Switch and PlayStation. Because when I press any button on any of those devices, the TV will either turn on if it's off, or switch to that input automatically, which is insanely useful. Now, going into the 4 variables that I told you. Resolution, no apples to apples comparison here, so I'm gonna call this one a tie. Both have their advantages. The projector just gives you a much bigger screen that gives you a full HD picture all the way to the back of the room, and you can appreciate the details on a 1080p movie. Compare that to the TV, which is still 4K, but you can only enjoy it if you're sitting close enough. I think that the TV did way better in terms of colors compared to the projector. I did see the projector struggling a little bit on this. In case of contrast, I think that the devices at night performed rather similarly. I don't think that we're losing any detail on the projector at night. So, all the details and the colors and the dark areas of the picture are displayed correctly. So that's I think, great news. Not necessarily during the day, but I would expect this is something that most projectors will struggle with. A bright room or a bright living room, it's just not going to work like. So my final conclusion is, I don't believe that a projector can replace a TV. A TV is simpler to use. It works any time of the day, just kind of like the default device. Still believe that it is. But this projector at least performed really well up to my geeky standards in the matter. I intend to use it for, movie nights sort of thing. And of course, there's the variable of cost. This is a $600 TV. If I want to upgrade it, I'm probably looking at a $1,000 plus TV that that can cover a much larger screen size. This projector is $250. So I think the mix of the two makes up for a great entertainment system combination. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your setup is, if it's a TV or a projector or both. And I'll see you guys next week.